Yo, yo, welcome everyone. So this is going to be a late night upload more than likely, but here we are, another month, another chapter of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, chapter 36, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, as per usual, let me know, I know, like, the spoilers, the translations, the full summary of the chapter should be out at this point, but those of you who've been around for a while know I usually don't really, check out or pre the, the summaries and all of that for the sake of doing my reaction reviews when the chapter on the chapter release day for the most part. But yeah. So for the most part, I just work with the quote unquote official releases that's on the official Naruto website, which is just usually 1 and 2 pages, which I have a complaint about that. I'm not gonna lie. Like here we are on the official, Naruto website, and I'm wondering, especially for like the international audience, I'm wondering like the previews of the chapter that they post. Like, I think it would actually make more sense if they have the translation, like the English version, for the 2 pages that they provide every month. I'm just saying, I think it would make more sense, or at least have like a version load depending on the version of the site you're viewing. I'm just saying, I think that would make more sense, but that's just me. But anyway, so yeah, I'm here to just kind of talk about and give my thoughts and expectations as we go into chapter 36 and beyond, and take into consideration the preview pages that we have here on the official Naruto website. So yeah, you know what? Let me just load up that in one tab, this in another tab. So of course, since I could probably put this in something to translate it, but it's whatever. Let me just use the visual storytelling to deduce and give my take here. So of course we have on the first preview page we have Sarada, new glasses are coming out of a store or something, and we do have a kunai that drops down in front of her with a spiral pattern on it. I wouldn't be surprised if that is actually Boruto saying he needs to talk to her or something along the lines of that. I think that would make sense. In the second preview page that we have here, we do have Hidari and Jura, who are, continuing their their their, how should I put it, their mini series in terms of getting books from the Konoha library and getting up to date in terms of what's happening in this world for the most part. Now, of course, again, it's just 2 preview pages as per usual when it comes on to this. But I think if it's going to go where I think it's going to go, I think it's going to go in a good direction. Try saying that a few times, or take a take a drink, take a shot every time. I say think. But yeah, so I know more recently we've been talking, or it's been a discussion in the community where Boruto's character is concerned in terms of either some person might think he's trash, some persons might think his character is lacking. I'm more so on the latter side, thinking that his character is lacking in terms of how it's been, portrayed into Blue Vortex. And again, disclaimer, this is not me putting Boruto down. I'm just saying that we could have a more nuanced and deeper main character based on how he's been portrayed in Two Blue Vortex so far. It's all I'm saying. I do expect that the anime will do a better job in, bridging the gap or filling in the gaps that the manga has left based on its pacing and its, its monthly schedule. Even though some persons might say that the monthly schedule isn't really any excuse in the grand scheme of things, but some persons may factor it in. But anyway, the point I'm trying to bring across is that I'm expecting a nice sit down between Sorada and Boruto for the most part, because taking into consideration this image, this preview page on the next one, we're obviously going into the final, quote unquote, final phase when it comes on to the Shinju. We're down to just Jura and Hidari. And until further notice, where we don't know if we will get more Shinju, I expect it'll just be them. We're going into the final act when it comes on to, or the penultimate, with Hidari more than likely being the next big bad to actually take it down. And that obviously means we'll be getting a lot of Sarada and probably a look into more of what Sasuke may have conveyed to Boruto in regards to Sarada and any concerns regarding the Mangekyo Sharingan. But I think that would be a good opportunity to, you know, give Boruto, or at least places two Blue Vortex character in another position or different situations where more of his character, more of the things that I feel are lacking can come out and shine, you know? So that's what I'm actually looking forward to. That's what I'm predicting. That's what I'm kind of expecting when it comes on to that. And even though personally I don't really mind the whole soap opera love triangle type of deal, I'm hoping when it comes on to the sit down or the interactions, or anything that's put on page with this potential Sarada Boruto link up, I hope it's something outside of that, you know? Again, I'm not knocking the whole soap opera love thing, but at the same time, I think I'd want something outside of that just to highlight something about Boruto's character. Because again, yes, in terms of how powerful he is, I think it makes sense. I do love the Uchiha S type of energy, the aura, all of that jazz and blues. But I think there needs to be more, you know? There needs to be more shown. Because when you just have that on the surface, it kind of comes off as just something superficial. The longer it goes on without getting anything deeper, makes his character, it can almost make his character feel a bit hollow, if you get what I mean. So yeah. But outside of that, taking into consideration like even the second preview image, again, yes, I'm predicting that we are going into the final phase when it comes on to the antagonists to Blue Vortex so far. And to be honest, I think it will be a good thing. Um I think the antagonists, while they're interesting conceptually, they kind of add a curveball in terms of the whole karma, Ten Tails lore. But at the same time, we don't really know much of anything in the grand scheme of things when it comes on to the overarching final boss that should be the Otsutsuki, right? So I'm hoping with the direction that we're going into with chapter 36 and beyond that we will start setting things up to like elevate these antagonists and start setting things up for the next sets of antagonists essentially. Because at the end of the day, the previous Shinju, like Mamushi, Matsuri, Ryu, eh, to me, in hindsight, now looking at it, it was just a numbers game in the grand scheme of things. We have like this quote unquote, you know, the new group cliche. They were just making up numbers in the grand scheme of things. I think in terms of the characters' interaction with them, they served their purpose. They highlighted some nuances that I definitely liked. But in terms of just that oomph, that punch as antagonists for the series, I don't think they really carried the swing in the grand scheme, right? Because again, to me personally, outside of code, and code is our next discussion, but how should I put it? Boruto, for I think a good portion, to me, based on how they kind of convey the story to us, it feels like it just thrives on the interpersonal drama of the persons that are on the good side, with the antagonists kind of lacking in the grand scheme of things for the most part. And you know, the expectation, which I don't know it's if it's justified, but the expectation is that coming into Boruto, apart from the nuances of peacetime and what that's really worth, I'm thinking a lot of persons were expecting the Otsutsuki would be the overarching like final big bad. But so far, 35 chapters in, it still feels like we're lacking the direction in terms of where things are going to go. So I'm expecting with chapter 36 now, we'll start setting things up. We'll probably get some hints when it comes on to, oh, what the heck was that? Yeah, in terms of like the next set of antagonists or whatever the case may be, or set the stage to just make the dynamic between the antagonists even more interesting, a bit more a bit more oomph to kind of pull us in as the reader, you know. I know Code is back, quote unquote, so I'm expecting with the number of antagonists being less now, we'll have more. Ikimoto will be able to focus and bring up more out of the antagonist to kind of, you know, draw us in even more. So I'm kind of expecting that. But let me know what you think. I think I've kind of rambled on long enough in terms of just my general thoughts and expectations just coming out of these two preview images. So yeah. So of course, join me tomorrow night after work for my reaction review for Boruto 2 Blue Vortex chapter 36. I might be late, because I might be at work for a little while longer than usual. Yeah. I might start a stream later than usual. But worst case, I will keep you guys updated on what's happening. Obviously, you'll see the stream announcement and all that jazz and blues. So yeah. But anyway, let me know what you think. Of course, leave a comment. Let's talk it out. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.